So these are obviously extremely difficult tasks, and I'm just gonna say another thing before I finish. What were the differences? So it came out that everything I said for now is just like they're completely identical teachings. But no, I think they were different. Not in the sense that most of the commentators were talking and writing about differences between Nietzsche and Jesus, but in the following sense. Why they're different? First of all, Jesus was interested only in unconditional love. And that I would attach to human spirituality. Unconditional love. Jesus doesn't paint. Jesus doesn't create music. Jesus doesn't build bridges, temples, churches, mosques. He doesn't do that. He is interested only in unconditional love. Now, what about Nietzsche? Nietzsche has a more wholesome approach. Nietzsche is interested not only in your spiritual development, but as well in your intellectual development and your physical development. So Nietzsche wants that Ubermensch, higher man, to be as much man as humanly possible, to develop all his areas of existence, to maximize them. This is why he talks about soil, he talks about food, he talks about drink, he talks about heritage, he talks about DNA. He wants physiological maximization of everybody's potential. That's physical. Intellectual, Nietzsche says, love physics. You have to know everything that science has given us. You have to know because you can. You can. Simply, you have to love physics. Just 5 minutes, please. So, but Nietzsche is also after, after the spiritual development, right? So Nietzsche is more wholesome in his demands. At least it looks like that. But as I said, Jesus is more after just unconditional love. He doesn't care about your intellectual development, about your wealth, how much you're going to achieve being an artist or an architect or a dentist. He doesn't care about that. He goes so far. He leaves politics to politicians. When he is asked by a peasant, should I pay tax with this coin? And Jesus says, whose face is on the coin? And the peasant says, emperor's face. And Jesus says, yes, pay the tax. Give emperor what belongs to emperor, and give gods what is God's. So that is not interested in politics. He's not interested in intellectual supremacy, material supremacy, social strata. He is interested only in unconditional love, period. Nietzsche wants everything. Not just spiritual part of us, intellectual and also physical. Now, why is that? Now, we cannot ignore historical and cultural circumstances in which two greatest, according to me, ethical teachers live. Jesus lives in Middle East, which is dominated by Roman Empire, by brutality and exploitation. At the same time, he lives a culture which is ruled by very harsh tradition of Judaism, and he sees that in that world in which spiritually and physically people cannot get any freedom, they are suffering. They're suffering physically, they're suffering spiritually. They had to follow the rules in the physical world of Rome and in the spiritual world of Torah. There is no freedom there. So he wants freedom. And he sees that that freedom is the most important, is essential for salvation from suffering. So for him, this is the critical issue. He doesn't care about anything else, because he cannot care about anything else. On the other side, we have Nietzsche. 2,000 years after. Now Nietzsche has inheritance, huge cultural inheritance, huge historical, religious inheritance. He cannot ignore that. He has in front of him Jesus. He has Mohammed. He has Kant. He has Schopenhauer. He has Hegel. He has all these great thinkers. He can't ignore them. He lives in 19th century. Industrial Revolution has already taken big step. Science is there. So he sees what he sees. He doesn't live in Jesus' time. Jesus didn't have Nietzsche in front of him. So those cultural circumstances actually decided about their differences. So one wants unconditional love, our spiritual maximization of our potentials. The other one wants all wholesomeness as his Ubermensch, the only one that comes closest to Ubermensch, that ideal man, Overman. Goethe, he is the one. He created out of himself that multifarious cultural traits, character traits, and he managed to incorporate everything in his life. He didn't take anything out. So he is the wholesome one. He incorporated everything, physical, intellectual, and spiritual. So we see that the demands of both of those great thinkers are extremely harsh, and they are like a great weight, as Nietzsche likes to say, great burden on the world left after them, which I believe was not yet fulfilled. And as Nietzsche said in the Antichrist, some people are born posthumously, meaning some teachings, some values will be appreciated in time to come, not yet. And and that will be all from me. Now you are more than welcome to ask questions. Yes, please.
While you were talking, I was thinking of